I was a television producer and director and writer for 30 years in Hollywood, and I've done over 5,000 shows that have aired. 15 years of those were on Entertainment Tonight. I was on the original launch team, and I worked my way up to being supervisor producer. While I was with Entertainment Tonight, I was nominated for Emmys 4 times. The role of visual arts in my profession, television, it's primary, it's paramount, and it's principal. Without an image, you don't have a story. I used to say this all the time, at least 4 or 5 times a day when I was running Entertainment Tonight. People would come to me and I would say, it's television. And, you know, that sticks. It's about seeing. The other elements add to the image, but you've got to have the image. You can't just have the other elements. In fact, if you notice local news or entertainment reports, if they don't have visuals, they won't report a story, or they'll do it very, they'll just gloss over it. So many stories don't get reported because of the lack of visuals. I'm going to say yes. Well, Gandhi said there's more to life than increasing its speed. And I think that is key. You have to think about what you're doing. And when I was doing Entertainment Tonight, we had 20 million viewers. That's a pretty big burden. I mean, you want to be pretty careful about what you do with that kind of thing. It's not just for you and your friends. It's not a little YouTube thing. There's sort of an obligation. Now, as far as the positive side of that, yeah, it makes it much more democratic. You don't have to own a studio, and you don't have to have 3 floor cameras to get a show on. Now you just shoot your thing and you put it up on YouTube, and maybe it goes and maybe it doesn't. That also creates a massive confusion and a lot of really poorly executed things. Any fool can take a picture or shoot some video or do any kind of other artistic invention. Just getting it out there doesn't make it good. And so I find they've talked about this being a visual revolution. Well, not quite yet. It's a visual inundation as far as I can see. There's just so much material, and so much of it is bad. Yeah, all the time. All you have to do is turn on the TV or just fire up your computer. You can see you're inundated with images that are rechanneled. We just went through a political election. I mean, talk about rechanneling. That was rechanneling at its finest hour. Yeah, well, there are many of those. One of the, and a lot of times, once again, getting back to that phony thing, it's kind of what they want you to believe about them. And the one that jumps to my mind is BP, the BP logo, the red or the green and the yellow and the BP. It's like they've like lifted this right from the environmental movement. It's like, oh, we're green and we're yellow and it looks like a sunflower. Like, oh, they're nice to us, and it doesn't say, oh yeah, we spilled billions of gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's so manipulative. But it's there. Now that was created by a company for that exact reason, to make them look like they're environmentally conscious and that they want to do the right thing. Come on, they're an oil company. Film noir is my particular favorite, because the use of lighting, it becomes a character in itself. It adds tension and foreboding and mystery, which I think is a lot of that is missing in our culture today. Today, everything is so on the nose that it really doesn't allow your imagination to play with it. But in the sense of film noir, with the mask lighting or the halo light behind the platinum blonde girl, oh, is she an angel or is she some sort of a maniac killer? All of those kind of creepy edges that kind of flow through film noir are really attractive to me. With film, you can paint with film, and a good director of photography or a cinematographer can make it. It's a palette, and you can tell when thought has really gone into it. And that really comes down to the lighting. The composition and the lighting are so important. I think that traces all the way back to, the painters. I mean, when you look at Monet, for instance, and his use of lighting, oh my God. I mean, that's just fantastic. And it doesn't transfer. If you Google Monet, you can get water lilies, you can get the bridge, Waterloo Bridge. It's just not the same. And I know the first time I saw Monet was in the Denver Museum of Art. I was in college, and we heard the exhibit was down there. I said, hey, let's get out and see that. And so we went down, and we were going around looking at the different Monets, and I was standing too close to this one. And I said, man, this doesn't look too cool, And then we went around, and I went around the other side, and I turned around and I looked back, and it just came to life right out of the mist. It was Waterloo Bridge, all pastels and violets, purple, pastel kind of colors. And if you stand too close to it, you don't see it. Well, right there, Monet was laughing at me. And it was like so impactful. It was like, wow, this guy, he got me. It was like sometimes you can't see things close up. And that's sort of symbolic for a lot of things. Sometimes you need some distance and you need some context in order to get it. And I did. But luckily, I turned around before I left, and there it was. And you know, I remember that instant still. I was probably 20 years old, probably like you. And right then, it was like, wow, that was cool. That was all shading, all lighting, and all you had to do was open your eyes. Yeah, you know, I know that's kind of cliche now because it's on every calendar. But if you've seen him in person, there is a human touch, and all of these major artists, you know, when you take a picture of it or you buy it on a calendar, you don't see the brushstrokes and the use of the different colors and the light. You don't see the human touch. When you see it in person, it's like, oh my God, his hand painted that line right there. And it's almost a connection to something that's been gone, you know, somebody who's been dead for years and years is still alive in that painting. It's a pretty powerful emotion to deal with. I guess that's why there's still museums. Otherwise, who would care? Well, I think the real thing that stuck with me is the impact it had on me. That art is a powerful thing. And I wanted to be able to do some of that. You know, it'd be very arrogant for me to say, oh yeah, I did. It's a different time, and the art is different, but the feelings remain the same. We're human beings, and we want to tell a story that'll impact other human beings.